On September 22, 1979, at 3 minutes before 1 in the morning UTC, American satellite called Vela 691 recorded a double flash of light over the South Atlantic Ocean. The satellite had been built for one purpose: to detect nuclear explosions from orbit. Its twin optical sensors, called bongmeters, were designed to recognize a specific signature: a brief initial flash, a drop in luminosity, then a second, longer pulse. This pattern had never been produced by anything other than a nuclear weapon. Vela 6911 had been in orbit for 10 years. It had detected 41 confirmed nuclear tests without a single false positive. On that September night, it detected a 42nd. The flash occurred near the Prince Edward Islands, a volcanic archipelago between South Africa and Antarctica. No nation claimed responsibility. No nation admitted knowledge. Within days, American intelligence agencies began a quiet investigation. The Central Intelligence Agency compiled signals from multiple sources. A classified hydroacoustic signal had been recorded by the Naval Research Laboratory's underwater listening stations. It was consistent with an underwater or low-altitude nuclear detonation in the same region at approximately the same time. The Los Alamos National Laboratory analyzed the Vela data and concluded, with high confidence, that the satellite had detected a nuclear explosion with a yield between 2 and 3 kilotons. But the finding created a political problem. If a nuclear test had occurred in the South Atlantic, the list of suspects was very short. South Africa had both the motive and the means. It possessed a covert nuclear weapons program, one it would not officially acknowledge until 1993. Israel had never confirmed possessing nuclear weapons, but American intelligence estimated its arsenal at that time exceeded 100 warheads. In 1977, a Soviet satellite had photographed what appeared to be a nuclear test site in the Kalahari Desert. American diplomatic pressure forced South Africa to abandon the site. But if both nations were cooperating, testing a weapon far from observation, over empty ocean, in the dead of night, then American non-proliferation policy had failed at the most fundamental level. In June 1980, President Jimmy Carter convened a special panel of scientists, chaired by MIT professor Jack Ruina, to review the Vela data. The Ruina panel issued its report 9 months later. It concluded that the signal was probably not a nuclear explosion. Instead, it suggested a zoo event, a simultaneous failure of both bangmeters caused by micrometeorite impact or sunlight reflecting off debris. The report acknowledged this had never happened before in the satellite's decade of operation. It acknowledged that no test had been conducted to show it was possible. But it maintained the conclusion. Critics noted that several panel members had close ties to the Carter administration, which faced an election and could not afford to publicly identify a nuclear proliferation failure. The Defense Intelligence Agency rejected the panel's conclusion entirely. So did the Naval Research Laboratory. So did Los Alamos. In the years that followed, additional evidence accumulated. Australian researchers detected elevated levels of iodine-131 in the thyroids of sheep in Western Australia, consistent with radioactive fallout drifting east from the South Atlantic. The trajectory matched. The timing matched. A low-yield nuclear detonation in that location, at that altitude, would produce exactly that isotopic signature in exactly that pattern. Former Israeli intelligence officials have, over the decades, offered partial confirmations. In 2010, former South African naval commander Dieter Gerhardt stated that the flash was a joint Israeli-South African nuclear test. He identified it as the third such test conducted under an agreement between the two nations. American intelligence documents from the period, partially declassified in 2006, show that the CIA's own internal assessment matched Los Alamos. The flash was nuclear. Only the Ruina panel, convened for political purposes, disagreed. The satellite's data was never retracted. The hydroacoustic signal was never explained. The iodine-131 in the sheep was never attributed to another source. Vela 6911 continued to orbit until its systems failed in 1984. It carried no recording equipment beyond its sensors, no crew, no memory of what it witnessed. Only numbers transmitted to a ground station in Virginia, numbers that described, with mechanical certainty, the precise optical signature of a nuclear weapon detonating above the South Atlantic Ocean at 3 minutes before 1 in the morning. No nation has claimed the 40-second flash. No nation likely ever will.